Hey, what's up, everybody? I hope you're doing amazing, and welcome back to another episode of Dad's Budget Bites, that kitchen where budget meets flavor. Today continues our 1 p.m. meal series, and what I have lined up for you all today is a very special one. If you grew up liking Hamburger Helper and you still like it to this day, then you're going to love this 1 p.m. meal because it's very reminiscent of that, with a bit more TLC and some extra goodies added. So let's get into it and let's cook. Here's what we're going to be using to put this delicious 1 p.m. meal together. So first on the list, we have 2 cups of dried pasta. Feel free to go with your favorite shape. I'm using elbow. The shape doesn't matter too much. Next up, we have about 1 pound of ground beef. Some onions that I pre-diced, so these are all set to go. And this is literally the only prep work involved with this meal. Super quick, super easy, and full of flavor. Next up, we have a 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, a half cup of shredded mozzarella, and a half cup of shredded Mexican blend. 2.5 cups of water in here. This one I can't tip for you, but you know what water looks like. You're just going to have to take my word for it. For seasoning, we have a half teaspoon of garlic powder and salt and pepper to taste. 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. This is where much of the flavor is going to come from. Last up, for a special ingredient, I have 2 tablespoons of salsa con queso. This is going to meld very nicely with the other flavors, the other cheeses, and also add a little bit of creaminess to the overall texture. Now it's time for the joke of the day, delivered by yours truly, Dad. What's a pirate say on his 80th birthday? I'm 80. Stay tuned for more cheesy dad jokes. To get this started, you want to break out your large 12-inch frying pan, get that warming up on a medium heat for a few minutes, and then we just want to add some oil. You don't need much, especially if you use a nonstick. And now we could add those diced onions. The pan's nice and hot. Doesn't really matter too much the order. Everyone's a little different. I like giving the onions about a 2 or 3 minute head start. Let those brown up. If you want to add them in with the ground beef or even after the ground beef is mostly cooked, that's fine too, whatever your preference is. Our onion's been browning up now for about 2 minutes. These are looking great. This was 1 small onion, by the way. And now we could add that ground beef. So 1 pound of ground beef, in that goes. Now we could just break this up as it cooks. Usually my go-to for ground beef is 85-15. They were having a good sale on the 90-10, so I spun for that. So we're just going to give this a good 5, 6, 7 minutes total to brown up, get nice and cooked through, and then we can move on to that next step. Our ground beef's been cooking with the onions now for about 6 minutes. This is looking awesome. Now would be a good time to add the wet ingredients in the pasta. So we have our tomato sauce here. This is 15 ounces. We could add that. In that goes. Now we have our 2.5 cups of water. In that goes. And the 2.5 cups of elbow macaroni. So we could put that in. In it goes. Now we could add our seasoning as well. So we have a little bit of salt and pepper for taste. Here's the pepper. A little bit of that. Boom. A little bit of salt, probably about 1/4 teaspoon. And then we have a half teaspoon of garlic powder. So we could add that. Now we just want to give this a good stir, combine everything. And what we're going to do once this comes up to a boil is cover it. And then you want to reduce the heat once it comes down to a boil. Simmer for about 12 to 15 minutes, stirring it occasionally. So we'll just give this a few minutes to come up to temperature and start boiling. And then again, we're going to turn it down to keep a decent simmer going. All right, guys, please forgive me. Silly, absent-minded me. I almost forgot one of the best ingredients. So I have a teaspoon of Italian seasoning here. We're going to add that. That's where a lot of the flavor is coming from. This is just starting to come to a boil. So in another 20-30 seconds, once the bubbles become more consistent, I'm going to turn down the heat, put the cover on, and then stir it occasionally every few minutes or so. Once most of that water is absorbed, most of that liquid is absorbed into the macaroni, then we're almost done at that point, guys. Almost done. The 15-ounce cans of tomato sauce are very handy for a thing like this. That way you don't have to open up a jar of tomato sauce and only use part of it. So this is just starting to come up to a moderate boil. So now I'm going to turn the heat down to a 2 and make any adjustments from there. Cover's on. I'll check back with you all in about 12 to 15 minutes. Our one pan perfection been cooking away now for about 13.5 to 14 minutes. And it really is looking great. Most of that liquid is absorbed now into the macaroni. It's looking and smelling amazing in here. So what I'm going to do now, remove that lid. We're good with the lid now. Now we could add our cheeses. So 2 tablespoons of salsa con queso. I want to add that first and give it a quick mix to incorporate it. So that's about 2 tablespoons worth. And we could turn the heat right off at this point too. So the heat's now off. Salsa con queso's in. Give this a little mixy mix. And now what we're going to do is mix that mozzarella right into the macaroni. So we add that. Mix that right in. Get it all nice and melty. I love the stringiness that comes along with melted mozzarella. Our mozzarella's in, nicely incorporated, looking amazing. And now what we could do is add that 1/2 cup of Mexican blend. So I have that here. We're just going to add that right on top. Sprinkle it right on. And ladies and gentlemen, there you go. There you have it. The perfect one-pan ground beef meal. Right here, ready to go. We're going to wait for this to cool off a little bit, and then we could try it and see how we did. YouTube family, we made it. It's now go time. We get to taste what we made and see how we did. But before I do that, let me just give you a close-up of home. This cooled down a little bit. The pan is still warm, but it's not hot. That's looking good. That's looking real good. This is very reminiscent of Hamburger Helper, only we made it on our own and made some improvements along the way. When you serve this dish up to your friends and family, they're probably going to assume you took 45, 50 minutes putting this together. In reality, it takes about 25, 30 minutes. They're going to assume you boiled the pasta separately. You got to brown the onions. You got to brown the ground beef. You got to simmer the sauce. And then you have to add the pasta. Who's got time for all that? This is one quick, easy step in half the time. And now we could try this out and see how we did. I'm just going to dig right into the pan. I got my big spoon here. Oh, look at that. I'm not sure if that picked up on the camera or not, but that nice stringy mozzarella. Got that little mozzarella pull when I pulled the spoon out. And it goes. That is very, very good. You got to give it a shot. Let me know how it goes. You get the creaminess from the mozzarella and that salsa con queso that we added. Adds a nice little creamy texture. You also get the sharpness from the cheddar cheese. And then with the Italian seasoning that we added, that melds and infuses with everything else. And the overall flavor is just out of this world. For a simple dish, for a cheap dish, for a quick dish, there's probably not many things that could beat this. So give it a shot. This is a hit. Let me know how it goes at home. I love hearing your feedback. If you got anything out of this video and you enjoyed it, please hit that thumbs up for me. I always do appreciate that. Drop me a comment. I always love hearing your thoughts and what's on your mind. Share it with your friends and your family. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And then hit that notification bell also so you don't miss out on future videos. I could use your support and I appreciate you all. And until next time, I'll see you all next time.